very strong vulnerability, especially with that young girl, and also from your work from Nobody Knows. We saw that. I'm just very curious about each director's process and how they're able to get such vulnerable and moving performances. Thank you.
Thanks. Why don't we just ask Kaya-san directly?
子供の演出に関して言うともう15年ぐらい子供たちには台本を渡さずに、当日朝集まって今日こういうの撮るよっていう説明だけをして、あとは僕が、口伝えに耳元で、お父さんこう言うからじゃあ翔太こう言ってごらんっていう形でこうセリフを音として耳から入れて、口から出すっていう文字を与えずに現場でこう状況だけ説明して作っていくってその場で、初めてその空間で初めてその自分が言うべき言葉を耳にするっていう状況で撮影をしてまして、なので撮影が終わるまで彼らはこの映画がどういう物語かというのは知らずに、瞬間瞬間をこう生きてもらうというやり方をしてます。オーディションの段階からそういうやり方が馴染む、その方がうまくいく、その方が楽しい子どもたちをこう見つけていくっていう作業をするんですけれども、今回の2人もそういうやり方をして、選びました。
So, in the past 15 years that I began to work with children, I have used the same method. I have never given a script to them, so they don't know the whole story. Each time we take a specific shot, I explain to them what's happening, and then I verbally give them their lines. They never read anything, they never prepare anything. So, for example, in a specific scene, I would say, okay, so the father is going to say this and he's going to do that, and Shota, you're going to say this in response to what your father says. So it's always from mouth to ear. And it's created only within that space. The words are created only at that time. And until the film is finished, they don't know the whole story. So they're living very much in moment to moment. And when the audition happens, I actually make a point of choosing children who seem to respond well to that and who get excited at the thought of just coming in and learning their, just working on the film in that way. So I notice what type of children are suitable for this method.
耳を使うのが大事じゃないかなっていうふうに、それはもしかすると子供だけじゃないかもしれませんけども、子供は特に耳をうまく使うようにっていうことをこうやります。
I think it's important for maybe not even just children, but to use your ears. So that's how. So it comes, the information, the tone, and everything comes in through the ear, and they become good at using their ears.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Mika Shaprut. My question is about the cinematic language, and I obviously want to thank you all for making such incredible, moving films and honoring yourselves and telling stories that inspire us all to, honor our humanity and something that connects us, such as film is something so sacred to me, and I value it so much. So thank you for carrying that tradition on. My question surrounds the idea of seeing cinema in real life, and a lot of you seem to have created something so spontaneous and doing it in the moment. And so I'm curious if you could share a story, either from earlier on as an artist or in the process of making these films, as to when cinema actually translated into reality. Thank you.
Alfonso, you talked earlier a little bit about what were you saying, I think?
Are you looking at me?
No. You had just mentioned that you felt you'd lost your love of cinematic language, which is why you wanted to go to Roma. What had gone?
Well, that happened way before.
But what do you feel? Why did you feel you need to refresh yourself like this?
No, it's not that. I mean, when definitely that happened was
I did a couple of films in Hollywood, and I felt I was losing my way. And it's when I decided to do it to Mama También, because I had to regain the reason why. That's also another thing. I had to reconnect to why I wanted to make cinema in the first place, and I'm referring back to that age in which you have the answers, you know. So
Do you have to go back to Mexico to do that, do you think?
well, it happened that in my case it was that, you know, in Roma it was more about trying to regain my sense of being, of identity, of who I am, you know. But in terms of because your question specifically was about the sense of real time and reality, right?
Yes, and like creating something spontaneous from the heart and from your intuition. And I guess from where that truly comes from, that source of creation is like, you know, this film for you, you were the cinematographer, you were the director, and the writer, in some regard, there wasn't really a script. So creating something so loosely, but trusting that intuition.
No, there was a script.
Oh, right.
A very
But it wasn't shared with the actors, right?
It was not shared with anyone.
Right.
With not the actors, the technicians, nobody had the script.
So was it really life itself guiding you through that process?
Because I think every director has a different process. I don't think there's one way of doing cinema.
Right.
And I think that each one of us we're trying just to find our own process. I'm listening to Hiro, and it's a completely different process. But there's a lot of stuff that he does that I also do. For instance, with children, generally speaking, I agree. I don't like to show them the screenplay. They should not know anything about it except the moment. In this film, nobody had the screenplay, and it was shot in real time, in perfect chronological order. Each actor knew every morning the bits or pieces that I will tell them. Sometimes I will give to some of them written dialogue, and to the others I would give specific instructions. Those instructions were contradicting each other. So when I was rolling camera, it was a chaos. It was like a traffic jam. But that's life. You know, life is not neat, the thing in which things happen. And if in the film there's a scene in which the mother asks the kids to write a letter to the father. And so I tell Marina, who plays the mother, just the older son is the one that reminds you most of the father and is the one that has the biggest problem with the father. So you have to make sure that she writes a really good letter to the father. And then I go secretly with the kid and said, the moment that your mom starts talking to you, you just leave. You know? And it was just, my job as a director was just to witness moments of people just reacting the way that they were reacting in real life. But this is specific process of this film. I don't think, I'm very curious to hear the process of each one of you guys, because I think each process, everybody finds their own way. I wish there was an easy answer. That was beautiful.
This notion of, he said chaos, this notion of organized chaos, sometimes it's so important for us, I think, as filmmakers. Also, because I feel the same way. I don't like to give my actors the script, because also there's this element of surprise in life. In life, you don't know what's going to come next. So when you're expecting life also to impose itself in a way on whatever you're doing, this is what you're supposed to do. It's very difficult for me as a filmmaker to say, okay, this is what I'm going to shoot, and we're going to start from point A to B, and that's it, and expect this to happen. It's even sometimes a bit disappointing. I'm expecting life to just surprise me and impose itself on me. That's why the element of surprise is very important for the actors too, not to know what's going to happen next and not give them any. Obviously each director each filmmaker has his own method, but in the case of our film, sometimes things would happen really that were completely like life was. Sometimes I didn't know if life was imitating art, or art was imitating life, and things would happen exactly the way it was. Like, for example, one of my actors in the my main actors in the film gets arrested in the film. 2 days after she gets arrested in the film, she gets arrested in real life, and she goes through the exact same things that were happening in the film. And not only that, the mother and father of Jonas, the small child who's actually a girl in real life, her name is Treasure, get arrested with our main actress. So when we are filming those scenes, when this little girl is alone without her mother, she is actually without her mother in real life. And sometimes we wonder, what is happening? What are we filming? This is not anymore the fiction that was planned. This is now we're witnessing real life happening in front of us. And it's amazing to embrace that and not to be afraid of that, not to be afraid of sometimes, the film slipping away from your own hands and going in a different direction. But when you have a solid script, when you know your material so well, this shouldn't scare you. Sometimes it's even so much more interesting and more nurturing for you as a filmmaker to go with the flow and to go with whatever life is giving you at that moment.
Yes, and your preconceptions. Give an example, the scene of the birth of the child, of the stillbirth. The way in which my conversations with people, what really happened, is that when they came with the baby and said, "You want to see your baby?" she didn't want to see her baby. She was terrified about the death of her kid. And the way I did that scene is that I staged everything with real doctors and real nurses, and she didn't know what was going to happen. So when you see her real reaction, and when the doctor asked, "You want to see your baby?" she said yes. But it was an honest reaction, so I have to surrender myself, not to my preconception or even to the historical fact, but what is the moment of truthfulness in that moment. It's, even if my old being of other films that I've done that are more controlling, I said, okay, cut. This is not what should be, but it's about just surrendering yourself to the actors, to the process, to the moment.
Thank you. I'm sorry we're going to have to end that.